taking three.
Going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course. And today we're going to take a look at a battle in the Ibuki that I had a few days ago. Really turned out to be a crazy battle. First of all, take a look at matchmaking here. So, 3 enemy Shimikazes is what we're going to have to deal against. There's a Yamato and a Des Moines there. And just in terms of, tier 10s. Versus our squad, or division of 3 Des Moines and 2 Gearings and 1 Shimikaze. So, just looking at this is going to be a little crazy here and a little hectic. There will be a lot of torpedoes rather, and a lot of torpedo walls. It's just going to be ridiculous. So the main strategy here, I suppose, is going to try not to get torpedoed. Now, on top of all of this, the map is ocean, so destroyer haven, and it's zone, and yeah. Now, zone, obviously, after 60 seconds, you can get in there. This is 60 seconds, I'm not sure. After a certain amount of time, you can get in there and start capping the zone, but you need to have at least 1 ship in there to cap it within 60 seconds. Maybe that's where I'm getting the 60 seconds. But anyway, you basically, both teams need to have a ship in there. Now, I'm sure all of you know how to play this type, but with this amount of destroyers, given the range that the torpedoes have, it's going to be a pretty crazy battle. But I was very, very surprised with some of the more glaring mistakes that some of these players pulled off in this battle. So we're going to take a look at that, and just as sort of the battle is progressing here along. Also, soon we are going to get, I'm going to get the Admiral Hipper, yes. I'm about maybe 4,000 experience away from the Admiral Hipper at this time. It's just a matter of money for me right now. I'm sort of thinking about a few things. To be honest with you, I've been trying to grind out ranked battles to get money from that, because then I can buy both Admiral Hipper and New Orleans at the same time, given the credit rewards you get for ranked battles, but still suck at rank 6. Yes, it's unfortunate. We'll get to that. It'll happen. Anyway, getting back into the battle, you can see how my team is sort of dispersed here at this time, right? And we're starting to spot some enemy ships. Well, 1 enemy ship. So we have a vague idea where the enemy sort of is. And keep in mind with this battle type as well, you don't all have to be in the zone in order to cap or to prevent the cap. As long as there's 1 friendly ship in here, the job is satisfied. So you don't feel bound that you have to stay into this cap. That being said, don't just skirt along the outsides without supporting your team who may, are attempting to cap the zone or block a cap, right? Someone has to do it, and there's going to need to be support for that person or that little group who does it. Immediately, obviously, with the amount of destroyers we have going on in this map, you can see that our destroyers are starting to engage enemy ships as they start arriving. So there's a good clump of enemy ships there. I'm with some of my destroyers kind of going down on the west side here right now, circling around as well, right? I'm very conscious of the fact that there are a lot of enemy destroyers on that team, and I do not want to be surprised and have to just face off against a torp wall and die right away. That doesn't help anyone, and it's going to suck in terms of the repair bill here. So again, sizing up targets as well, taking a look at any sort of targets of opportunity that pop up. There is an Amagi, so start putting some shots into him. I have high explosive loaded, and that's just solely because I expected the first ship for me to come across would have been a destroyer. Get lucky in that it's a battleship, or an Amagi, that is. But now, yeah, there's some torpedoes coming in, so okay, alright, we know that there is an enemy destroyer around here somewhere. There he is there, yeah. Enemy Shimikaze now. Didn't think that this guy would get so close in so early on, especially given the range on the torpedoes on this thing, or maybe he just didn't expect to see us here. So immediately, right, player pops smoke and tries to get away to the situation. Unfortunately for him, he's got a lot of flack here coming in, we'll say. I mean, there's the guns from my cruiser. I have a friendly destroyer around me as well, and I think there's another friendly cruiser here shooting over me. So you'll notice that, right? Immediately fire starts going into this guy. Now, my shots, that shot there, didn't do a whole lot. Luckily, I didn't have full salvo going. I had my rear cannons reloading a little slower than the front cannon, so still did some damage in that salvo. Now, end up killing the Shimikaze, that's not too bad, and get a first blood out of it as well. This is where I started thinking, oh god, Thotgor, it's all over, because there's a Thotgor right there, and then yeah, my team right on the ball, all over that, and enemy Thotgor is gone. There's an enemy Pensacola. Now, I have armor piercing already loaded and ready to go because I had it ready for the Thotgor, so that shot goes into the enemy Pensacola. Didn't get any citadels, but did a bunch of damage to him, so that's fantastic. And now just lining up for another salvo and being aware of, yes, the other enemies that are around, torpedoes that are incoming, right? Got him trying to take all of this in and react accordingly, which is very difficult, obviously. So still shooting at this Pensacola now. He's maneuvering around as well because obviously we have torpedoes on the way out to him. Fortunately for me, once again, my friendly ships come in here and take out that Pensacola. Fantastic. Second Pensacola behind that first one. Alright, great. Start putting shots into this guy, and you can see that salvo wasn't too great at all, right? It was fairly hard, but now he's turning and exposing a broadside to me, so that's fantastic. Just lining up another nice salvo. You can see a lot of my allies are putting shots into him while all of this is going on, obviously maneuvering not to hit anyone. My shots land, kill the enemy Pensacola with a nice citadel hit, so that's my second kill. Fantastic. There is the new Tier 8 Russian premium cruiser, the Mikhail, what's it called? Kruzov or something? Anyway, I don't know anything about the ship, so we're not going to talk about it at all. But there it is. It was cool to see. Obviously, someone is testing it out, so that's fantastic. So putting a few shots into this ship, right? I want to be able to, test it out, see how it is. And I've already got armor piercing loaded up, so I figure this is going to be the best to take a look at in terms of what I could expect from seeing this ship later in the game once it's released. So not necessarily the best angles on him though. That was the biggest thing, right? Now we're sort of coming into better angling on him where I can almost catch him in a broadside here, and he is now putting fire into me. This is the first incoming fire that I've received from him, so yeah, a bit of damage there, nothing too significant. Mainly didn't get any fire set. So managed to launch off one spread of torpedoes, just didn't have the time to get that second spread because he's within range, and I'm just sort of lining up now, managed to put out the fire to get a nice broadside into the sky. I wanted to see what my armor piercing could do. Unfortunately, I did cut off one of my allied destroyers here, the gearing. That was unfortunate. Didn't get a great shot into the enemy cruiser there, the Russian cruiser. Obviously, the people who are testing these ships out right now have a bit of skill under the belt, right? So he wasn't dumb enough to just sort of drive in a straight line, able to maneuver around, so the shots incoming didn't happen. But now I have to deal with this enemy Yamato. Now, thankfully, I didn't get that second spread of torpedoes off, so I'm able to get that spread of torpedoes off, firing it at the Yamato. So got those going off, but now I'm focusing on the Des Moines here. He's coming up, great broadside opportunity for him. That kill that I just got, that was one of the enemy destroyers. Yes, I know, it was great. Not exactly sure which one it was that I killed, whether it was one of the Shimikazes or not, don't know, but managed to get him, and that's fantastic. And so putting some shots into the Des Moines here over here, so got a nice citadel hit on him, did a bit of damage to him. That's not too shabby at all. You can see that he's focused on the Allied Pensacola in front of me. So unfortunately the Allied Pensacola is taking the brunt of these shots, and he's not able to stand up to it, right? It's only a Pensacola, so Allied Pensacola goes down, but the Des Moines is on very little health, and luckily I have the benefit of having a lot of my allies supporting me on this Des Moines here, especially considering, that the Des Moines can heal itself, right? No, it not necessarily would have been tricky for me to deal with, but I wouldn't have been able to deal with it as fast. I would have had to pay more hit points in order to take that guy down. Luckily, not the case, and the Des Moines is gone, so that is fantastic. And taking a look around, things have happened pretty quickly in this battle, yes. So the enemy team only has 4 ships remaining. You can see that 3 of them are destroyers, and there is 1 battleship. So that leads into why I wanted to sort of show this clip today, because this is, can happen often enough where your team just destroys the enemy team, right? Like this. And you start getting full of yourself. Now, we've talked about it before on the channel. Never hurts to bring it up again, and just reinforce the idea that at this point in the battle, you want to make sure that you don't get too overconfident, right? There are 3 enemy destroyers on the enemy team there, and that is a huge threat. Look at the torpedoes that are coming in, right? They're not coming in at me, but they are coming in at my allies. And my allies really need to be on the ball here in order to avoid these torpedoes, because very quickly the enemy destroyers can start racking up some kills here and maybe evening it out or making the odds a little more into their favor, right? So this is something that we want to be really aware of at this point when we have these type of battles. It's so easy to just, well, we basically have it, right? Let's just charge off in all directions, hunt down these enemy destroyers, and we'll be done with it. That might seem all fine and good, but suddenly now you're a lone ship facing off against a destroyer that you don't see that has a whole lot of torpedoes. So not the best strategy there, right? So that's what this team, why I sort of liked it. We stuck together. You can see there are a few radicals on the team, right? that do kind of want to go off on their own, but generally speaking, we're staying in a nice group, able to support each other, even if we are in sort of maybe 2 smaller groups at this time. We're keeping together, because again, look at these torpedoes that are coming in. I'm very aware of that too, and I'm using my acoustic ability right now to my benefit, but to the benefit of my allies as well. I want to be able to detect the torpedoes as far out as possible, to give everyone as much time as possible to be able to maneuver around them and avoid them entirely, because that's something you really don't want. Basically 2 torpedo hits from any of these torpedoes and one of our ships is almost going to be gone, more or less dead, even if it's a battleship. Because at these higher tiers, right, the battleship maybe not almost dead, but he might be at half health, right? So that's a big hit. And look at this, torpedoes are coming in from all directions as well. There is a huge torpedo spread from one of the enemy destroyers, right? That would have been easy enough to get some pretty nice hits on my allies. But luckily, right, we have more time. We saw them incoming because we had a destroyer out there who spotted them. So we have enough time to maneuver around them. Sure, my friendly destroyer gets pretty close there, but he manages. Now at this point in the battle, we killed the enemy battleship and we killed one of the destroyers. So there's only 2 destroyers remaining. Again though, don't want to let down your guard. We have a general idea of where the destroyers are. I know that, yes, there is one right there, because obviously we were taking torpedoes from the front. So luckily I'm able to spot that destroyer, and that gives my allies around me, specifically my allied destroyers around me, the opportunity to move in a little closer and keep this guy lit up. Because I'm not able to get too close right now. I have to dodge these torpedoes, so I couldn't stay on that course, so I have to basically do a 360 and then charge at the destroyer. Well, that's going to take time excuse me, for me to maneuver around and pull off that maneuver. And in fact, here I go here. I'm still in maneuvers right now against these torpedoes, and all this time moving away from that enemy destroyer, so not able to spot him. But luckily I do have, like I say, allied destroyer around me, so he's aware of what's going on. Once I can get a little closer here excuse me, once I can get a little closer here, I will be able to spot this guy and get him down. While all this is going on, obviously the rest of my allied team is hunting down the other destroyer. And again, they're staying in a fairly nice group in order to do it. The radical we have is just, one of our destroyers out there hunting him down. But to be completely honest, if any ship is going to go off on their own and hunt something down, it should be a destroyer. Because it has the best chance of remaining unseen in order to get in close, right? So there's the enemy destroyer. He has popped up, so excellent. Obviously high explosive, it's ready to go, and I'm good to go on a nice salvo. So I take a look at torpedo opportunities. Now I don't see the enemy destroyer, but I still am going to fire off the spread. Nice wide spread on both salvos here to see maybe I can get him gone, right? And he's more or less hidden inside his smoke. So torpedoes are on the way now. I have to maneuver as well because I'm not 100% sure where this guy is on his reloads, and I don't want to take a chance that he already had torpedoes in the water for me on that course, so I'm just turning away, letting some of my allies move in a little closer here. You can see the destroyers are on the way in. Nice big torpedo spread on the way in for this guy as well, and it's not looking too good. Not looking too good for that guy. And there we go. He is now gone. Fantastic. One more enemy destroyer to hunt down, to carefully hunt down again. Even though it's one enemy destroyer, he could take out 2 of our ships at once. Now, while that isn't such a big deal given the amount of ships that I have remaining on my team, it would still be tragic, especially given how awesome this game was. Right from the get-go, a whole lot of action right up until the point where there's just a few enemy ships remaining, and then it's just a matter of hunting them down while trying not to die, trying to dodge torpedoes, anticipate where the enemy destroyers are. You can see on the minimap that allies are pinging it out where they believe the enemy destroyer is. I wasn't convinced that he was in that northeast sector over there. I was thinking that he was more northwest, if not west. I thought that this was where he is, and it was where I was expecting him to pop up, in fact. So that's sort of where I'm going. In the meantime, we are starting to spread out a little more, especially given it's only one enemy destroyer now, so and we know he's somewhere in the cap circle because we're not capping this base right now. So we know he's somewhere in here. So we're spreading out a little more, and not necessarily the best call, but I like the way that we are spread out, just because we're fairly close to one another, and no one single ship is going to be out of the range of another ally ship supporting it, unless you're one of the destroyers, obviously. We're way out there. Moving into this northwest quadrant of the cap point here, and this is, like I said, this is where I figured that the enemy destroyer was going to be hidden out, where I might find him. Looking around here, just seeing as well, because my allies are getting sort of in position as well on the fringes of this whole northwest, northeast top half of the cap zone, and there he is. He's popped up, so it did turn out he was in the northeast, not in fact in the northwest. So alright, I've got to try and get in close to this guy to get some shots off at him, right? Try and help the team here, get this guy gone, because the last thing we want to do is to spot him and then have him pop his smoke and hide away and just drive away. Sure, we'll finish the cap here, and we'll still win. We're going to win anyway, but it's just not as great as being able to kill them all in this circumstance. Not that killing all the enemy ships should always be your goal. That's not what I'm saying. It's just in this circumstance, right? There's that one enemy ship remaining. Kind of want to kill the guy. I'm sure the person is a great player, but still want to get him gone. So moving in close, you can see a lot of my ally destroyers are also getting in close to this guy as well. So it's very close. We almost have him. There he goes. Pops up again. My ally destroyers are all over this guy. There's not a whole lot he can do. He did have some torpedoes incoming, but luckily I don't have any worries about hitting them. Able to straddle them, and there we go. Allies managed to finish him off, and the battle is over. In terms of overall results for the battle, it wasn't too bad at all. 353,000 credits, 6,200 experience, 3 kills, first blood, devastating strike. Top of the team overall with over 2,000 base experience. This was 1.5 times, and you notice that I had my Confederate flag on there as well for the extra 0.5, so comes out at 2 times. In terms of damage done, I think it was like 72,000, so not a whole lot of damage done, but just a lot of great teamwork involved there. And then I walk away with over 300,000 credits as well, so I was very, very happy with this game, because again, I need money. If I want to buy that Admiral Hipper, I need money. It has to happen. But anyway, that's today's video. Thank you guys very much for sticking around, watching it through as always. Hit the old like button if you liked today's video. Leave any comments you have for me in the comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.